गुड मर्निङ सबैजना सन्चै हुनुहुन्छ?
गुड मर्निङ।
Morning.
Good morning.
गुड मर्निङ
Good morning, sir.
गुड मर्निङ सबैजना कस्तो हुँदैछ?
एकदम hard to learning.
लर्निङ त गर्नै पर्छ हजुर लर्निङ अहिले ठिकै जाँदैछ। अब नयाँ आज एकजना को हुन बाँकी हुनुहुन्छ? एकजना देखिन
नयाँ विद्यार्थी
होइन हामी मध्ये दुईजना आउन बाँकी हुँदो रहेछ।
प्रत्येक जिरा अनि एकजना हाम्रो पौडेल भाइ हुनुहुन्छ।
मित्र?
होइन नवीन होइन?
नेत्रजी त बोल्दै
म यही
प्रत्येकजी हुनुहुन्छ।
प्रतीकजी अनि अर्को हाम्रो के पौडेल हुनुहुन्छ, पङ्कज हजुर
आउँदै हुन्छ होला। कहिले ढिलो हुन्छ 2-4 मिनट। म चाहिँ ठ्याक्क टाइमिङ एकदम आफूलाई म चाहिँ टाइम एकदम पावन चाहिँ मलाई त्यो टाइम चाहिँ यताउति भएको अलिक मन पर्दैन। त्यही भएर टाइम चाहिँ एकदम वेस्ट गरे जस्तो लाग्छ।
मैले 57मा लगइन गरेँ।
मैले लगइन त
केही गर्नुभयो गर्दै गर्ने, तर लगइन चाहिँ पहिल्यै गर्ने गर्थ्यो के, तर कहिले काहीँ डिस्कनेक्ट हुन्छ त्यो।
Let's go back. हजुर
जेनदार छात्रहरू छन् भने
अब त्यो त पढ्नु त पर्यो गरेपछि हैन। हजुर let's start then. Let me start that. Let me start a video. Let me share my screen. I'll share this one. 1 second. Okay.
जेनदार छात्रामा पर्यो सर। डेली क्लास आउने तर फेलका फेल।
हैन क्लास आउँदै आएन भने त फेरि केही पनि भएन नि त। क्लास आउनु भयो भने त केही न केही त भयो नि त, केही न केही सुन्नु भयो, केही न नयाँ जान्नु भयो। अब तपाईँलाई कुनै पनि टाइममा हेल्प हुन्छ नि त।
त्यही त हामी पढ्दाखेरि नि साथीभाइ हुन्थ्यो नि त, आउने क्लास चाहिँ एक दिन मिस हुन्थ्यो नि, तर फेरि सधैँ फेलका फेल हुन्थ्यो नि त। त्यस्तै भयो
अहिले शब्द सुन्यो भने मात्रै पनि गुगलमा हाल्यो भने आउँछ नि त के हो भनेर।
हजुर
अहिले बिर्सियो भने पछिलाई
अहिले सुनेका शब्द अहिले नयाँ नौलो भए पनि अब पछि त्यसलाई त पछि हेर्दाखेरि त यो त थाहा पाएको सुनेको पहिला हेरेको भन्ने हुन्छ। अलिक बढी फ्यामिलियर चाहिँ हुन्छ।
भनेको याद आयो भनेर अनि सट्ट गयो।
हजुर त्यो पनि हो।
अहिले भएको त्यति नै मात्रै हो मेरो।
एटलिस्ट कतिवटा शब्द थाहा छ भने भन्न सकिने भयो।
त्यो पनि हो।
एसडिएलसी बिस्ट एजाइल हुन्छ, वाटरफल हुन्छ हैन, रिग्रेसन हुन्छ भनेर सबै भन्न चाहिँ जान्ने भयो।
त पनि जान्नु पनि ठुलै कुरो हो। अब मान्छेलाई के रहेछ कस्तो चाहिँ फिल्ड रहेछ भन्ने कुरा हुन्छ नि।
अनि सबैभन्दा राम्रो पार्ट चाहिँ यो क्लास सुरु भन्दा अगाडि गरिन्छ नि यो गफ।
पढ्ने कुरा नि यस्तै रमाइलो हुनु नि है।
हँसाउनु अगाडिको कुरा। अगाडि त अब त्यस्तै हो यो। अब यो घाम नफाली स्विमिङ के एउटा जान्छ, स्विमिङ सिकेर मात्रै समुद्रमा जान्छु भन्ने, पौडी खेल्न थाल्छु भने जस्तो भयो नि। त्यो त अब स्विमिङ गर्न सुरु त जानै पर्छ।
समुद्रमै सिक्नु पर्यो हैन?
हजुर भित्रै सिक्नु पर्यो स्विमिङ गर्नलाई। समुद्र या पोखरी भनौँ न जहाँ भयो नि स्विमिङ पुल। स्विमिङ गर्न काहीँ न काहीँ त भित्रै पानी भित्रै जानुपर्छ नि। होइन म स्विमिङ सिकेर चाहिँ पानीमा जान्छु भन्न त कोही पनि सक्दैन नि। त्यो सम्भवै छैन नि।
थ्योरी मात्रै सिक्नु भएन।
हजुर
सर गुड मर्निङ। हजुर
गुड मर्निङ।
म आउनु त आइपुगेँ सर। म हस्पिटलमा छु सर।
ए
के साथै हजुरको के भयो
कङ्ग्रेचुलेसन के भयो
साथै?
तपाईँको
बोय सर बेबी बोय हुनुभयो
ए ल कङ्ग्रेचुलेसन हजुरलाई
बधाई छ अब हामीले
Congratulations, Pankaj ji.
क्लास
ल,
गरेर
बधाई
सबै
छ है,
ममा
brother.
ठाउनु पर्यो पङ्कजजी।
थ्याङ्क यू सो
बरु
मच
ममा
हजुर
हामीले
अब
लिएर आउँला।
एउटा चेपिराख्नु भयो दोस्रो रहेछ नि त उहाँको एउटा चेपिराख्नु भयो
त्यो पर्दैन म यता डालसतिर आउँदैछु को हुनुहुन्छ डालसमा यसो भेटघाट हुन्छ नि
हामी
यसो
सबै
भेटघाट
सबै
डालसमै छौँ।
डालसमै हो, हजुर मात्रै हुनुहुन्न रहेछ बाहिरको, त्यसो भए।
म चाहिँ यहाँ हिस्टोमा छु क्या म आउँदैछु डालस आउँदैछु म यो पर्सि मन्डे पनि आउँदैछु रुम ओके गर्न लागि
ए
हजुर अनि म अक्टोबरमा मुभ हुँदैछु डालस अनि त्यतिखेर क्लास भइहाल्छ भेट भइहाल्छ त्यतिखेर अनि पार्टी मजाले
ल है त त्यसमा
यहाँ अर्को यहाँ बोकिरहेको छु अर्को भित्र ट्याचा गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ
त्यही त एउटा बोक्नु भएको छ दोस्रो थपिएछ नि त
हजुर उहाँलाई साथी भएन कि त्यही भएर नि यसो साथी भयो
ए
बधाई छ
ल, बधाई छ तपाईँलाई
हुन्छ
धेरै धेरै।
थ्याङ्क यू थ्याङ्क यू
बधाई छ हस् ल अब तपाईँ पछि यो रेकर्डिङ केहीबाट पढौँला नि तपाईँलाई let's start the class. So can everyone see the W3C school? So I just want to do some revision before even I start, so that everyone is aware where we are, what we've been doing. So sometimes people don't get confused with those stuff. So before this, we completed the loops, if else condition, for loop, while loop, and switch. So today I'll probably give I'll probably give an assignment where you can use the for today or maybe this week, for loop and how to use switch condition. So this will be an assignment. There'll be an assignment today or maybe tomorrow. Another thing you have to do is today is week 7, this intro to automation. So I'll just go a little bit highlight about this one today because we may need some revision. So after that, we'll go over the introduction to automation. So we'll slightly touch the topic, slightly touch the what is Selenium and how does it used and what are the different features of Selenium and stuff. And maybe we may merge this. We may go a little bit shortcut on this one, and we'll try to set up Selenium in our machine. So in our laptop. So I'll try to. First, what I'll do is I'll give the online version to see if anybody can. I don't think that will work. Yeah, I'll try. I'll let everyone try the online version. I'll provide one of the links to online version that seems more genuine and could use. And if not possible, then I will provide. And then I think in the class, maybe next week, I will set up the. I'll give more detailed step of Selenium setup. So that's what we're going to do, and probably another concept we're going to use would be jars and mavens. I have to explain a little bit more about that because this is completely new topic. So I would like to give some time on this one. Okay, let's start today. Introduction to automation. Before that, let's do the some revision. So if else condition, if you remember if else condition, if the already known that Java supports user logical conditions for mathematics. So this is kind of giving the example of mathematics, where if A is less than B, A is less than or equals to B, A is greater than B, A is greater than or equals to B, A equals to B, and A not equals to B. So this first topic means not equals to. So I think I wrote a program with all this example. If, else, else if. What is the difference between if, else, and else if? So can anybody know why should we use else if instead of using if? I think I'll go to the program. Give me a second. We will go over the where did I go? Why don't I see it? Okay. Eclipse, just type. It's loading. Give me a few seconds. So, do you remember what is the difference between if and else if? Can anybody give me that? Anyone volunteer?
Yes.
When there is a multiple conditions, like when the first one goes like if,
Uh-huh.
and the other one, the last one goes like else,
Mm-hmm.
and the middle one, like how many we have, it's like else if.
Yeah. If it's the same logic, then we use
Okay,
else if.
that's it.
If it's a different logic, then we use just if. So yeah, there could be multiple conditions. Like if the age we said, right? If the age is between 8 to below 18, we are not able to vote. I mean, you can apply for U.S. Army. Else, if we use if the age is between 18 to 35, or age between 18 to 35, then you are eligible for to apply for vote. That is what you'll use in else if. And there's another condition, like say example, yeah, that's and then else age is greater than, or if you use else age, or you can use else means you will be everything above other than these two conditions will use, you are not eligible to apply for US Army. So this is what I give some simple example of else if and else. Just oh my, anyone joining? So just remember that. So there's a syntax, there is some example, and yeah, if you look at time equals to time less than 18, good day, time greater than else, good evening. So it is saying 18 means usually it will be 12:06 after 6. If time is less than 6 p.m., it's a good day. Otherwise, it should be good evening. That's what it is. Some example it is giving. So something like that. So and let's see in the example. So do you have to explain this, or are you guys all okay with this simple example? You guys were able to go through this and were able to understand this.
Yeah, I'm okay with the simple
Okay.
ones.
Okay, that's the same on condition, else if another condition, and then else. So like if time is less than 10, good morning, time is less than 18, good day, else, good evening. So it's just saying there are different timing, else if, and else. So that's all about else if, and I'll go revision about for loop. When you know exactly how many times you want to loop through the block of code, use the for loop instead of while loop. That is also true. And for statement 1, statement 2, statement 3. So for loop has 3 statements. Executes one time before the execution of the code block. So it means this is the initiation. Statement 1 is the initiation. Int I equals to 1 means it executes before the executes the code block. Statement 2 defines the condition for executing the code block. So if you look at statement 2, condition, like when I equals to 0, means it executes first time. Second time, if executes if an I is less than 5, defines the condition of execution, the code block. Statement 3 executes every time after the code block has been executed. So after this code is block executed, then statement 3 is hit, because it hits only after the first loop, or first time the loop is completed. So this is what the conditions are. I think we already discussed about this also. I equals to 0 means first it will do, and then we asked to create it manually too, right? How the loop works. That will help you explain later, understand your code and stuff. Like if you do I++ also here, and I+2 also can be done. So I think I give some example of this also, how we can do I+2 and stuff too. So those are the, don't worry about nested loops. This is already, first learn how to do this. If you want interested in second time, just learn the second one. But please first try to be familiar with the first loop. So this is what it is saying is nested loop is within the loop also you can create another loop. Let me see. Let's try this one. So what is happening is you can, when this runs first time, outer loop, the inner loop will run 6 times, because if you look at this bracket, right, always remember, like in Java, a block of code is, or when you give a bracket open, that is where you have to make sure that code will run. So for this for loop, what it is saying is this, they are creating nested loop. Nested loops means there are two loops. Inside a loop, there is another loop. So say example, this for loop has started first time, and there is another loop, the for loop has started. So there is loop inside a loop. Anyone have any question on this one? Understood what is meant by loop inside a loop? So, okay. What it is doing is, see, if you look at the first one, the for loop starts here, right? In I equals to 1, I is less than 2, I plus plus. So means this is a general for loop. And what is this? After it runs the first time, what happens? It will print I. Now, after it prints it, you look at how the compiler or the code runs, right? If you go here, usually you used to have bracket here, right? And then the loop closes. Now, in this example, it's not closing. It's saying that I want to do loop another time within this loop. After this first step is run, if you do the manually, you'll understand this. Now there is another loop that starts within the first time only. That when the first loop starts, you see that there is another loop that will start to run. In this case, it is another loop because you already use integer. I mean the variable I. It will not allow you to use, so use integer j. Within the j, you see it starts with 1 less than 3 j plus plus. Means it's same thing we are doing. So now what happens is this loop also starts to initiate. So what you see, if it's print line, you see inner statement. So if you look at the first time when it prints this statement, you will see outer one. Now now the code hits here. What happens is the code has to complete this loop for every f1, because if you look at this bracket, right, what happens is it has to go to the end of the code. So for this for loop, if you look at this for loop, the bracket starts here and ends here. That means what is happening is this for loop will execute its routine, means it will execute for 3 times. Like if you know the manually, which if you write equals to 1, and if print I, print j, it print inner j, then I equal to 1 and I plus plus means 2 is less than or equal to 3. Yes, then it will do print ij inner 2, print, and same thing will j equals to 3, plus plus would make it 3, right? So 2 and then 3 is j is 3 less than equals to 3. Yes, then print 3. Next it will go j equals to plus plus would be happen. It will be 4. J equals to 4. Is j less than equal to no? That will not execute the loop. It will exit the loop. So it will go here. After the exit comment, now it will go here. It will see, okay, what if I have anything here? No, nothing here. So what it will do is I will say, okay, let's go back because this loop hasn't completed yet. This inner outer loop. So now it will go back to here. First time it already executed with outer one. Now it will do I plus plus means I equals to 2. I equals to 2. I is less than or equals to 2. Yes. That means the condition satisfy these conditions. It will go and print outer j. So what happened? It will go and print I. Sorry. Next time you will see outer 2. For this second condition also, for this first loop, now it will go and hit this loop again. What is happening is this is interconnected. So for every time for I2 also, it will run this loop 3 times. Like however it ran for this first 3, right? It will run this same thing. And this second time also. In that case, what happens? It will go and run this loop 3 times. Now it will exit here. So it will, after this loop is exit, it will go here. It will go back. Now I becomes I plus plus. It will be 3. I equals to 3. Is I less than or equals to 2? No, then the loop will exit and it will exit from here. It will go to next line. Next line, if you have any conditions where you can say SYS. Oh my God, 1 second. I will say end of the loop. Okay. So if you look at this, if you run this, you will see only once this is run. This will run only once. See this? It will run end of the loop only once. Because what happened is the loop executed, completed cycle. Any questions till now? I mean, this is concept where you have to practice, and this is also outer loop and inner loop concept. So I will please create something. Let me do one thing.
Sir,
This
like अलिकति can we explain a little bit in Nepali? So
okay.
अझै थोरै के
Yeah,
क्लियर जस्तै हामी कसरी कुन साइडबाट कता जाँदैछौँ भने फर्स्ट कताबाट गर्छौँ अनि कतातिर जाँदैछौँ थोरै अलिकति
हस् अब के हुन्छ भने फर लुप चाहिँ अब यो लुपिङ कन्डिसन भएको हुनाले अब यो तपाईँले यो अस्ति त यो लेख्ने एक्सर्साइज सबैले गर्नुभयो एक्सर्साइज जुन मैले होमवर्क दिएको थिएँ इन्टको यो कसरी हुन्छ के हुन्छ मलाई जसरी चाहिँ यो के अरे सुस्मिताजीले एक्सप्लेन गर्नुभयो सबैजनाले हेर्नुभयो त्यो सुस्मिताजीले लेखे जस्तै सबैले त्यो कसरी लुप काम गर्छ त्यो चाहिँ पहिला सुरुमा त्यो म्यानुअली लेख्नै पर्छ क्या त्यो लेखेन त्यो लुपै बुझिँदैन त्यो हुँदाखेरि के हुन्छ भने यो इनिसिएसन हुन्छ यो भनेको I1 बाट सुरु हुन्छ अनि त्यो एसाइनमेन्टै अनि I को चाहिँ लेस देन 2 भनेको कन्डिसन म्याच हुनुपर्छ अनि I++ सो कसरी रन हुन्छ यो लुप भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ म्यानुअली लेख्नुपर्छ कि मैले कन्डिसनर लेखेर यहाँ पक्नु चाहिँ यहाँ कन्डिसनै मैले कहाँ गयो मेरो क्लिप्स
I प्लस प्लस भनेको दुईचोटि जोड्ने भन्ने हो कि कस्तो हो
एकचोटि हुन्छ प्लस प्लस भनेको चाहिँ एकचोटि मात्रै जोडिन्छ प्लस प्लसले पक्नु चाहिँ मेरो क्लिप्स यहाँ लन्च चाहिँ भएन I++ भनेको चाहिँ एकचोटि मात्रै जोड्ने हो यो I प्लस यो भनेको चाहिँ I++ भनेको I इक्वल्स टु I सर्ट फर्म हो त्यो I+1 हो क्या खास गरी यो रन त्यही नै आउँछ I इक्वल्स टु I+1 हो क्या प्लस प्लस चाहिँ यसको सर्ट फर्म दिएको हो क्या
अनि यो जस्तो आउटर लुप गर्नलाई यो पब्लिक क्लास र पब्लिक स्ट्याटिक पनि गर्नै पर्यो हैन
यो त अब क्लास त एउटा त चाहिहाल्छ हजुर यो त क्लास बिना त केही पनि जे पनि कोड त क्लास भित्रै हुन्छ नि
ओके
क्लास त अब यो सिस्टम एउटा उसको तरिकै हो नि
माने चाहिँ सुरुमा टाइप गर्ने त्यही स्टार्ट यहीँबाट गर्नु पर्यो पब्लिक
हजुर
क्लास भन्नु
जहिले पनि क्लास र मेथड त जहिले पनि चाहिन्छ जेमा पनि चाहिन्छ अब तपाईँलाई मेथड अलरेडी एक्जिस्टिङ छ र त्यसमा गर्नु परेन भने बेग्लै कुरा त जहिले पनि चाहिन्छ है क्लास त
पब्लिक क्लास
हजुर पब्लिक क्लास त जहिले पनि पर्छ मैले इफ एल्स आर्मीको भयो फर लुप होइन मैले यहाँ लेखेको यहाँ छैन मैले हटाएछु ए मैले हटाइसकेको छु त्यसो भए
मेरोमा छ कि
तपाईँकोमा छ एकचोटि हेर्नुहोस् त मैले त हटाएँ कि एक्सप्लेन गर्न
मेरो
त
पनि थाहा छैन मैले के गरेँ कि
सबै रिभिजन गराए किनभने नयाँ कन्सेप्ट छ तपाईँलाई अलिकति गाह्रो हुन्छ भनेर मैले फेरि एकचोटि एक्सप्लेन गर्न खोजेको यो युजफुल छ किनकि यो चाहिँ अब रेगुलर के भन्छ अब त्यसलाई यो सबै यो जाभा यो अटोमेसन यो भनेकै यति यो फर लुप यो चाहिँ अब पानी परेर भन्छ नेपाली यो पानी परेर चाहिँ हुनै पर्छ है यो सबै फर लुप स्विच स्विच पनि हुनुपर्छ तर स्विच चाहिँ धेरै तर स्विच फर इफेल्स यो त पानी परेर हुनुपर्छ
रहेछ मसँग
हो ल यसो देखाउनुहोस् त म स्टप सेयर गरेँ मैले हो यो हजुर हजुर यो अब कसरी सुरु हुन्छ कसरी एन्ड हुन्छ भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ अब सुस्मिता तपाईँ नै एक्सप्लेन गर्नुहोस् तपाईँलाई पनि बुझ्ने मौका हुन्छ
छैन भन्नु मिल्दैन
ल हस् मै गर्छु ल यो अब यो फर लुप हेर्नुहोस् भने इन्ट आई को साथै स्प्रिन्ट लेख्नु भएको छैन उहाँले स्प्रिन्ट आए यो चाहिँ अब 5 को भयो 0 भयो 1 भयो अर्को 1
घट्दै जान्छ यो उसको यो स्प्रिन्ट
चाहिँ घट्नेवाला परेछ बढ्नेवालाको चाहिँ मसँग छैन मैले कहाँ राखेँ त बढ्नेवाला चाहिँ बढ्नेवाला नि छ यो पनि ठिकै छ तपाईँहरूले अब यो बुझ्नु पर्यो कि फर्स्ट कन्डिसन स्प्रिन्ट 5 भनेको स्टार्ट हुन्छ क्या लुप सुरु गर्दाखेरि सुरुमा स्प्रिन्ट 5 बाट सुरु हुन्छ होइन त्यो इनिसिएसन त्यसपछि स्प्रिन्ट ग्रेटर देन इक्वल टु 0 भनेको यो कन्डिसन मेड भएको छ कि छैन 5 भन्दा अगाडि भयो भन्ने बित्तिकै ट्रु हुन्छ भने चाहिँ यसले त्यसपछिको यो कोड लाइन 7 मा जान्छ कि लुप भनेको मतलब लुप गर्नु हो नि त मल्टिपल टाइम्स त्यही भएर लाइन 7 मा जान्छ लाइन 7 मा गएपछि के हुन्छ यसले प्रिन्ट गर्छ युजिङ द लुप भनेर प्रिन्ट 5 गर्छ होइन सेकेन्डचोटि जाँदाखेरि तपाईँहरू फेरि यो लुप त फेरि लुप भनेको मतलब त कन्टिन्यू गर्नु पर्यो स्प्रिन्ट 5 त 5 छ होइन तर त्यसको लास्टको स्टेटमेन्ट के हुन्छ भने आफ्टर दिस बोथ अफ स्प्रिन्ट 5 पछि के हुन्छ भने स्प्रिन्ट इक्वल्स टु स्प्रिन्ट -1 छ उहाँले स्प्रिन्ट माइनस गरेपछि स्प्रिन्ट -1 हुन्छ त्यो भनेको त्यो लुपको फर्स्ट कन्डिसन एन्ड भइसकेपछि लास्टमा हुने कुरा 4 भयो अनि 4 भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ स्प्रिन्टको भ्यालु चाहिँ स्प्रिन्ट -1 भएपछि 4 हुन्छ अनि स्प्रिन्ट ग्रेटर देन 0 कन्डिसन छ नि दोस्रो ट्रु भयो भनेपछि ट्रु भयो त्यो भएपछि लाइन 7 मा जान्छ क्या लाइन 7 मा जाने बित्तिकै के हुन्छ प्रिन्ट गर्छ प्रिन्ट 4 फेरि त्यसरी नै स्प्रिन्ट त अब फेरि त्यो फेरि त्यो प्रिन्ट सकेपछि थर्ड कन्डिसन पनि रन गर्नु पर्यो नि स्प्रिन्ट माइनस माइनस त्यो थर्ड कन्डिसन रन हुनलाई के हुन्छ भने लाइन 13 मा हेर्नु भने स्प्रिन्ट इक्वल टु स्प्रिन्ट -1 त्यो भनेको कति हुन्छ भने 3 हुन्छ अनि स्प्रिन्ट -1 भनेको 3 भयो एन्ड 3 इज ग्रेटर देन इक्वल टु 0 यस ट्रु भएको कन्डिसन चाहिँ 3 प्रिन्ट गर्छ भनेको लाइन 7 मा जान्छ प्रिन्ट गर्छ त्यस्तै इफ यु जानु भने स्प्रिन्ट 15 5 त्यसै कन्टिन्यू के त्यो कन्टिन्यू जबसम्म यो लास्टमा हेर्नुहुन्छ भने 0 सम्मको लाइन 27 त्यही कन्टिन्यू हुन्छ अनि 21 मा जाने बित्तिकै स्प्रिन्टको स्प्रिन्ट -1 0 -1 इक्वल्स टु -1 एन्ड स्प्रिन्ट ग्रेटर देन इक्वल टु 0 हो त होइन नि त्यो भएर फल्स भएको कन्डिसन भने चाहिँ त्यहाँ स्टप भयो क्या लुप त्यहाँबाट लुप चाहिँ कन्टिन्यू हुँदैन भने चाहिँ लाइन 7 मा जाँदैन अनि लुप एक्जिट हुन्छ लुप एक्जिट कहाँबाट हुन्छ भने त्यो लाइन 6 को एन्डमा देख्नुको जुन ब्राकेट छ फ्लावर ब्राकेट त्योबाट लाइन 8 मा जुन फ्लावर ब्राकेट छ त्यो लाइन भने त्यो लुप एन्डको कन्डिसन हो क्या स्टार्टिङ र एन्ड त्यहीँबाट सकिन्छ यही हो फर लुपको चाहिँ स्टार्ट एन्ड एन्ड यही भन्छन् क्या अब अहिले मैले एक्सप्लेन गरेको पनि यहीबाट हो यसरी नै हो त्यो एउटा लुप चाहिँ सुरुमा बुझ्नु पर्यो क्या यो कन्डिसन मैले एडिसनको गरेको थिएँ जोडेर सुजनजीलाई नेगेटिभको मैले एसाइनमेन्टमा दिएको थिएँ यही हो कन्डिसन कसरी हुन्छ भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ बुझ्नु पर्यो यो विक 7 मा रहेछ अब बुझ्नुभयो त अब यो फेरि अलिक चाँडो हो भने अब यो चाँडो त चाँडै हो होइन अब तर अब कतिको बुझ्नुभयो त अब यो कुराहरूलाई अब
यो
कतिसम्म
कन्डिसन मेड नभइन्जेल के अरे भइन्जेलसम्म रन हुन्छ होइन त्यो
हजुर
कन्डिसन मेड हुँदैन अनि त्यसपछि त्यहाँ स्टक हुन्छ ल मैले बुझेको चाहिँ त्यही हो होइन
हुने त्यही हो हजुर
उम्,
ठिकै भन्नुभयो
अनि
गर्न चाहिँ त्यही
माइनस
हो
लुप घट्दै जान्छ जो घट्यो फेरि अर्को पनि के अरे 5 - 4 पनि मिट हुन्छ कन्डिसन होइन त्यो पनि रन भयो
हजुर त्यही त त्यो कन्डिसन चाहिँ अब त्यही हो हुन्छ मसँग रहेछ एउटा मैले पनि भेटेँ होइन क्लासमै मैले अपलोड गरेर रहेछु अब तपाईँलाई यो म फेरि सेयर गर्छु है हर्षजी अब यो कन्डिसन चाहिँ यसरी अब यो भन्दा अब सेयर स्क्रिन यो गरौँ न स्क्रिन 2 कुन देखिरहेको छ यही ल कोड देखिरहनु भएको छ मेरो यो मोडलको
आयो Yes.
हो यस्तै अब स्प्रिन्टको यो मैले यही गरेको थिएँ नि हजुरलाई स्प्रिन्ट इक्वल्स टु 1 स्प्रिन्ट लेस देन 5 स्प्रिन्ट 1 भने चाहिँ यही हुन्छ एकबाट सुरु हुन्छ 5 भन्दा तल छ कन्डिसन मेट भयो त्यसपछि रन हुन्छ त्यसपछि थर्ड कन्डिसन यो रन हुन्छ स्प्रिन्ट प्लस प्लस भने स्प्रिन्ट प्लस 1 हुन्छ स्प्रिन्ट इक्वल्स टु स्प्रिन्ट प्लस 1 भने चाहिँ 2 भयो होइन यो पहिला 1 थियो अब एकबाट कन्डिसन 2 हुन्छ स्प्रिन्ट इज लेस देन इक्वल्स टु 5 यो कन्डिसन फेरि जान्छ ट्रु भने
यदि
प्रिन्ट यो
माथि
लाइन
यहाँ 5 भन्दा बढी राख्यो भने त्यो अनुसार बढ्दै जाने भयो होइन
हजुर हजुर यो जति राख्न सक्नुहुन्छ 500 जति राख्छ त्यही अनुसारले हुन्छ यो सुरु कहाँबाट गर्ने अन्त्य कहाँ गर्ने र कसरी सुरु र अन्तमा जाने भन्ने कुरा हो क्या यो फर लुपको जस्तै सुरु 0 बाट गर्नुभयो अन्त्य 100 मा गर्नुभयो र मलाई +2 गर्नु भने मलाई सबै इभन नम्बरहरू दे 0 देखि 100 सम्म गिभ मी अल द इभन नम्बर्स फ्रम 0 to 100 भन्नुभयो भने त्यो सुरुदेखि अन्त्यसम्म र कसरी जाने बढ्ने क्या लुप भन्ने त बढ्नु पर्यो नि त कहीँ न कहीँ त कसरी बढ्ने भने चाहिँ त्यो चाहिँ यहाँबाट डिसाइड गर्ने क्या
सुरुमै लेख्नु पर्ने
हजुर सुरुदेखि अन्त्यसम्म कसरी जाने भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ यसरी दिने हो क्या अनि कसरी बढ्ने चाहिँ अब 1 बढाउने कि 2 बढाउने कि 3 बढाउने कि 4 बढाउने कि 5 बढाउने कि होइन कसरी बढाउने भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ यो लास्टको कन्डिसनले डिसाइड गर्छ क्या जस्तै यहाँ अब मेरो यहाँ आईको छ I+1 जुन दिएँ मैले कन्ट्रोल प्लस गरिदिउँ हजुर यो आईको छ I+1 जुन गरेँ अब यहाँ मैले I प्लस इक्वल्स टु आई इक्वल्स टु यो त मैले इन्फाइनाइट यो त इन्फाइनाइट लुपको इक्जाम्पल दिएको थिएन मैले यो चाहिँ रङ लुप भने जहिले रन भइरहन्छ यहाँ हेर्नु भने अब आईदेखि I+10 पनि गर्न मिल्छ नि त मैले त ल हेर्नुहोस् अब I+10 गरेँ होइन यसलाई चाहिँ पहिला कन्डिसन फेरि लुप रन भएको रहनुहुन्छ अब यसलाई रन गऱ्यो भने अब हेर्नु कति प्रिन्ट गर्छ के भयो प्रिन्टै गरेँ नि त किन प्रिन्ट भएन
तपाईँ ऊ के अरे 100 भन्दा सानो
I+1 त हुनुपर्ने हो ग्रेटर देन
मिडलको
लेस देन
त्यही
गर्नुपर्छ फेरि यहाँ पनि
हुन्छ
उल्टो गरेछ नि त
त्यही उल्टो भयो त्यही भएर
ए हस् लेस देन इक्वल्स टु त्यो पनि याद गर्नुपर्छ एकदम यो लेस देन र ग्रेटर देन एउटा सिम्पल स्टुले गर्दाखेरि उल्टो भयो रनै भएन
ग्रेटर देन भयो भने त सबै पुरै इन्फाइनाइटली मेनी गर्ला नि
के नम्बर आएर पुरै कुनै बन्द गर्नुपर्छ
हजुर
उम्,
तर त्यो म्याचै भएन त्यही भएर अब हेर्नु यहाँबाट 1 गरेपछि यो भयो 10 गऱ्यो त्यो प्र्याक्टिस हो सबै प्र्याक्टिस गरेपछि थाहा हुन्छ नि रन एज सबै 0 10 20 30 40 50 60 70 80 90 100 अनि यसरी मैले 10 10
जिरो
वटा
यो जिरो चाहिँ कसरी त्यो भयो लाइक अब
जिरो
त्यहाँ हामी
फर्स्ट
त
कन्डिसन रन भयो नि त
आई इक्वल्स टु 0 भयो
त्यहाँबाट स्टार्ट हुने भनेर
त्यहाँबाट सुरु गरेँ नि त मैले अब 10 बाट नि सुरु गर्न सक्छु मैले होइन
अँ।
10 बाट सुरु गरेँ मैले भनेपछि 10 20 30 40 50 60 आयो कहाँबाट सुरु गर्ने कहाँ खत्म गर्ने र कसरी खत्म गर्ने कुन कन्डिसन भने चाहिँ यो लुप कन्डिसन हो अब एक्जाम्पल यसको लागि अब स्प्रिन्ट भन्यो अर्कोले भनेको चाहिँ अब सबैजनालाई मनपर्ने मोमो होइन मोमो एउटा प्लेट मोमो पर प्लेट होइन पर प्लेट होइन मोमो पर प्लेट अझैको 10 वटा दिन्छ भन्नु एक्जाम्पल तपाईँको एउटा मोमोको भाडामा कतिवटा मोमो पर्छ ल एक्जाम्पल मोमोको भाडामा ए भएन मोमोको भाडामा जम्मा जम्मी 100 वटा पाक्छ एकचोटिमा मोमो भनेपछि कतिवटा पाक्ने कन्ट्रोल भी मोमो चाहिँ एउटा प्लेटमा 10 वटा जाँदै गर्छ भनेपछि प्रिन्ट मोमो प्लेट भने प्रिन्ट होइन नम्बर अफ मोमो पर कुकिङ है मोमो प्लेट भन्छ सरी मोमो प्लेट पर कुकिङ ल अब यसरी गर्यो भने के हुन्छ भने तपाईँको रहनु पर्ने नम्बर अफ मोमो प्लेट ए सरी यो त अलिक भएन 10 त हुनु हुँदैन चाहिँ कतिवटा गर्न मिल्छ भने काउन्ट गर्नुपर्छ त्यसलाई चाहिँ पक्ष यसलाई गर्न सकिन्छ एन्ड एन्ड I equals to 0 and I equals to 0 I plus 1 ल अब यो रन गर्यो भने ए यो त भएन सरी I equals to I plus 1 ल यो रन गर्नुपर्छ त्यो चाहिँ के भने प्लस प्लस त दुईटा हो क्या भनेपछि तपाईँको एउटा 100 वटासम्म मोमो एउटा एउटा कुकिङमा पाक्छ ठुलो भाँडो छ भन्नुहोस् अब होइन एउटा प्लेट मोमो चाहिँ 10 वटा हुन्छ मोमो चाहिँ प्लेट कतिवटा जोड्दै जानु पर्यो भने 10 वटा मोमो जोड्दै जानु पर्यो एउटा हरेक प्लेटमा भने चाहिँ एउटा प्लेटको 10 वटा भयो नि अब त्यो गर्दाखेरि कतिवटा मोमो चाहिँ कति प्लेट मोमो हुन्छ भनेर हेर्नुभयो भने लास्टमा 10 आयो नि त भनेपछि 10 वटा मोमो चाहिँ प्रिन्ट हुन्छ भनेको क्या यो नत्र यसलाई चाहिँ मैले यसरी गर्दाखेरि यहाँ पनि गर्न सक्छु पक्ष चाहिँ यसलाई रन गर्छु ल नम्बर अफ मोमो प्लेट कति हुँदो रहेछ लुप गरेपछि थाहा भयो नि अब यो चाहिँ मैले एउटा नम्बर अफ मोमो प्लेट्स पर कुकिङमा चाहिँ 10 वटा आउँदो रहेछ भनेपछि 100 वटा मोमो एकचोटिमा पकाउन सक्नुहुन्छ भने एउटा पर प्लेट चाहिँ 10 वटा हुन्छ भने मोमो चाहिँ कतिवटा हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि सबैको फेभरेट 10 वटा प्लेट मोमो हुने भयो यो कसरी आयो भन्दाखेरि यो लुपबाट निकालेर मैले लिएर आएँ यो अलिक हेल्प भयो कि यसले त्यसरी चाहिँ यो किन कसरी हुन्छ भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ लुपको किन फाइदा कसरी फाइदा भन्दाखेरि यसरी एउटा अमाउन्ट पनि क्यालकुलेट गर्न सकिन्छ यसरी भ्यालुजहरू पनि निकाल्न सकिन्छ यो हो लुपले चाहिँ यसरी हेल्प गर्छ क्या कसरी गर्ने
यो
सुरु हजुर
काइन्ड अफ म्याथमेटिक्सै भयो हैन
हो म्याथमेटिक्सै हो काइन्ड ल अब त्यहाँबाट नेक्स्ट लेट्स गो टु द नेक्स्ट टपिक आई डोन्ट वान्ट बिकज इट विल टेक अलमोस्ट हाफ एन आवर One second, where we go? Okay. For loop, for each loop is also an example. It is just a shortcut for the for loop. So, it already started with array. So this is another example which I wanted to people to start to read. Did anybody read over Java array? 1 second, I have to start this one with new project. New Java project. Did anybody read about it? No?
But
Did anybody read about the array? That's what a part of our assignment, right?
I think so.
No,
म
nobody.
त म त भुले थिएँ नेक्स्टेड लुप चाहिँ गरेँ होइन त मेरो प्लानमा चाहिँ थियो
लुप एरे
आउँदै थिएँ त्यहाँ म कहिले उ नगरेको भए पनि तर त्यो एसाइनमेन्ट भन्ने मैले भुलेछु
अब
के गर्ने न
त्यो चाहिँ गर्नु भएन अब त्यो पढ
तैँले पढ्ने मान्छे भयो भुलेछु केटकेटी जस्तै भयो
हिँड्दैछ पाइला मेट्दैछ
तर मैले नेक्स्टेड लुप चाहिँ गरेको थिएँ म त्यहाँ आउँदै थिएँ होइन
हजुर
नेक्स्टेड लुपको चाहिँ प्र्याक्टिस त्यो टेबल मल्टिप्लिकेसन टेबल बनाउन सिकेँ मैले
हजुर अब प्याकेज बनाएँ मैले यसरी मुभ गरेँ त्यो अब यो एरेसम्म पढ्नु कसैले पढ्नु भएन एरे के हो भनेर अब एरे पनि एकदम राम्रो कन्सेप्ट इम्पोर्टेन्ट कन्सेप्ट हो यो एरे चाहिँ के हुन्छ भने अब लेट मी स्टार्ट विथ इंग्लिश तर फर्स्ट नेपाली no sorry I'll start with English. Arrays are used to store multiple values in a single variable. So now does anybody have to what is a variable? Now I think Pankaj is I explained about a variable right before. Does anyone explain what is a variable? It was part of the note. Anyone volunteer?
Stores a value, that's what I remember. Stores.
Java variables are containers for storing data value. Anyone other than the just
they are like it's a kind of like a general formula or like a general assumption and how to say that.
And this is I think we need to say storing data values. So
manipulate information in a programs.
In Java, there are different types of variables. I think you should all go over this. This is important topic, variables and all these things, because we need to understand. String, int, float, character, boolean, these are all variables. Declaring, creating variables. So we type variable name, value. This is all we do, right? Int, string, name equals to John. Int, my number equals to this. All are the variables. So if you look at now, what happens is initially what we do is we store. When you create variable, we used to do start with int main, okay? String name equals to I'll say Vivek. Okay, so what happened here? Name is a variable, instructor, sorry. Instructor name equals to Vivek. But now when I store this variable, there's only this string object or variables can store only one element, that is Vivek, or one variable. Now I have to do that string student 1 equals to Raji. String student 2 equals to I have to do Netraji. Right? This is time consuming and this is not a optimal way. Right? I have to do all these things. Instead of doing that, what I can do is I can create an array and store the information. So what is an array? If I want to store some variables in a multiple values, not values, sorry, multiple values in a single variable, instead of declaring separate variables for each value, to declare an array, define the variable type and square brackets. So multiple values can be stored in a single variable instead of declaring separately. What I can do is now string students
1 plus 2.
and not like that, student equals to. Now if you look at the syntax, Raji, Netraji, let's see, Dilip ji, so and so on. I can store all the information. So Smita ji, Pratik ji, Pankaj. So if you look at here, what I did is instead of doing each one, I can store all the student name in under one. How does it start it? Data type. You have to provide what data type you are storing in this array. If I'm storing students, I'm gonna do this one. If I want to do integer value, student count or student what is it? Just for sake, okay? Age, okay? don't take this one as because it's int. I just wanted to use. Don't take it seriously. This is nothing per one. I'm gonna say anything, okay? 1,
Is equal to
5,
Okay.
comma 6, comma 10, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, comma, and for double quotation. If you look at that, that's what I'm going to do. 4, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, one more, comma, 9. So, what happened? Oh, it should be single quotation. Oh, my bad. Sorry, my bad. It should be single. I don't know why I did double. It should be single. I thought this is string. And most of
So
the time,
this one's automatically generated commas.
no, I typed a comma. You have to do on your own. Okay. What happened here? Valid? What did happen? Oh, I didn't like it. Why didn't you like this one? Okay. I'll see that one. Okay. So if you look at here, this is a student. So this is an array. If I want to store multiple elements, multiple values in a single variable name, then we will use an array. Okay. This is an example of an array. So how and what you want to do, say this one. Arrays are used to store multiple values in a single variable instead of declaring separately variable for each value. For example, declare array, define the variable type with the square bracket. So string car. So you can give this way also, or you can give string also. This is both ways fine. If I give here, and I can do that also, or you can give after the string also. That doesn't matter. So let's follow the what this guy has said. Okay. This is more cleaner than the mine one. So string bracket and then variable name. So you can give this way, variable name, and they store the values, variable values. This is a example of how to declare an array. Any questions on this?
So this is the syntax for the two big brackets. You start
Right. This is
yeah,
syntax.
and the
Correct.
next one is also.
And the bracket, this also for bracket starts. For a string type, you'll give double quotation. For the integer type, you'll give the single quotation. And everything should start with a comma. After you give the number like Raji, then comma, Netraji, comma, Dilipji, comma. So everything should be comma. separated. And because this is a string type, we use double quotation. So this is an integer type, we use single quotation. And after that, bracket close and then semicolon. This is example of syntax. If you have gone through this example, I would have to explain this way. But yeah, this is what. Or you can do it. I think you don't even need this numbers. Oh my God, I forgot that. I don't know why I did character. But yeah, for integer, you don't even need this. My bad. That became a sorry, that became a character when I gave that. But yeah, my bad.
It's separate from the comma.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't why I wrote that. I don't. So this is an integer because when you declare an integer, you don't need that. Like if I do here, the example would be int age, right? Int student 1 age, right? Equals to 1. I need to do. So it's similarly, instead of doing that, I copying this, student 2 age, I do
Five.
student 2 age, it will be 5. Student 3 age would be, control same thing I have to do.
6.
Student 3 age would be 6. Instead of doing this, I said, okay, I want to include all in an array for better reading and better processing. What I did, I converted each of them into an integer type. Okay. Does this any question on the syntax? This is just we are on the syntax only right now.
No,
Okay.
to me.
Okay. So this is the if you can go through this one also. Like this are the numbers, integers, array. This is in syntax. Now, how do you access the element? So in the integer, how it goes is everything is index based. You can access an array elements by referring to an index number. The statement accesses the value of the first element in the char. So what it is saying is everything is indexed. So how index starts is index starts with 0. So remember that this is important. Index. What does index means is in an array when you store variables, each element stores in an as an index. Do you have to explain what is an index? Anyone? Okay, I hope everyone understands that. So index means how the elements are stored in a format. So that is in what order they are stored. And the index number starts in an array in a 0. So if you do students, and then again I can whenever I call any of the array, I need to use the bracket, big bracket that we call, right? 0. What do you think will print here?
Raj.
Yes, correct. Run this one. Raj. Now same thing I will do student age. Student age, I want to print 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
But there is no Raj value is equal to 0. How came the 0?
This is not student, right? We are calling the students array. Array starts with index. Index means Raj would be 0 index, Netra would be 1 index, Dilip would be 2. So this all comma separate means each is a variable. So you have to remember the purpose of an array. Instead of creating 1, 2, 3, 4 individually, we created a block, right? Which all the information are stored in a one array, one element, one variable. So that is the purpose of an array. If you remember the definition, it's multiple things. If you want to store convenience, you store as a one variable. So student 0 means what happens is you are calling the first index. You have to understand what is an index. Indexing means how the information are like roll number 1, roll number 2, roll number 3. That's all index. When somebody says roll number 1, then if your roll number used to say yes sir, right? You don't call the name, right? In the school.
Yeah.
You call roll number 1, roll number 2. That is indexing the students. Understand what is the index now? In class, you don't say Vivekji, Netraji, are you present? Yes, no. You say roll number 1, present sir. Roll number 2, present. We say that, right? That's an indexing. That's called index. You give a number, and the number starts with in the array 0. So what I'm being saying is, if you all the teacher will have some attendance rule, right? And they will be book 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and then there will be student names here in the Excel, and then there will be attendance, right? Yes or no. So that's how it works. This is also same thing. When you say student 0, roll number 0, yes sir, Raj, and it will print Raj. Now student age, roll number 5. What do you think will print here?
Netra.
Anyone?
Mhm.
5 is Netra.
Student age.
Oh,
This is a different one now. That was student. That is student. No, student A is 5. What will print?
It's gonna be Netra.
No, student A is not students. This is a different variable, right?
Hmm.
This is the students will print that. But student age is different variable. I'm calling student age here. Which what do you think will print here?
You start the same like 0 index.
Yeah. And what will be the number? What will be the 5?
9.
Can you explain how did you get this?
9. It's like the 1 is like 0, 2 is 5, 3 6, 4 2.
0, 1, 2, 3,
3
4, 5.
5. Yeah.
So 5 would be print 5. Student age. I'm calling student age here.
It's
So
9.
that will be 5.
Mm.
This is important concept. Say Raj and 9. Because I wanted to print the 5th index. Maybe it's confusing because they are in the same line. And student age. So anybody?
as that means is adding the all together? No, right?
Not adding. It is giving the index, roll number. That's what I was saying, right? Roll number. It is getting the asking for the student age roll number. Student roll number would be, I'll say 3 now. Student age would be 3. Okay. Now tell me what will this will print and what this will somebody. I mean, so you understood already. What will be student 3? Anyone?
2.
No. What will this will print? What will be what is student 3? I mean the element or index. I mean not index.
Susmita.
Right. What about student A is then? 3.
2.
1 2.
Yes. Yeah. So that
Because
is
we started at 0, right? We can start at 1 also, right?
no indexing. We have to start at 0. This is internally Java code. In this thing, we didn't declare any. This syntax, everything is inbuilt in Java. So we have to follow the rules of Java. So Java rule is indexing starts from 0. First string. Suspita and 2. Correct. So this is a basic example of how to I said loop array, right? I think I'll say find well, no, I should not say loop array. This is because I want to make sure this is print array with element index. Okay. Sometimes if you give name, rename file to, I can rename the file also if I click on that one. So I can print array with element index. Okay, this is what I give. So let me remove this one now. I don't need this. That's just okay. We didn't use it, but you can just let it be there. Okay. So instead of doing this, 1 second, I'll say it's int instructor age equals to 10. Just say 10. Oh my god, I'm too much used to putting the bracket. I don't know why. So instead of doing this, simple very Java variable declaration. Now I'm gonna say array variable area declaration variables call array variables by their index. index starts from 0. Okay, so I'm going to make it this way. So please practice this one. I'm going to push this also. Let me do it right now because I may forget later. I'm going to create a new class, array loop. Okay, I'm going to do this one again because I want to make those two separate. So let me copy this one and see if I can put it into the model. 1 second. File name. To give the. No, I can use this. 1 second. I hope I can drag it from here to here. Let's see. Oh, I took it. Print array with index. Okay, save. So this is, I added this one over here. Okay, week 9. Let's go to the here. So our purpose was to, if you look at it, the course and the schedule, our purpose was to Java array. I mean, you can play around with this now. I think most of them it says how to get the elements, right? How to print. So please, there's a length function also, which will let you know how much, what is the length and what are the elements input. So, but if you look at index, it starts from 0, but length starts from 1 because length cannot be 0, right? So length starts from 1. So if you see, there are 4 elements within the car variable array, but if you look at length will print 4, not 3. Okay, just to let you know that everyone know that. Practice this also, and that's all for the loop through an array. So this is another example which is really important. I think we can need a break then. Let's take a 10 minutes break, and after this concept, after this loop through the array, which is we'll go over the our class real lecture introduction to automation. So we'll go over that today. Okay, but let's take a 10-minute break, and then we'll go over this loop, and then we'll complete the class for today. Any questions?
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you in 10 minutes. Thank you. Okay. All right. सबैजना आउनुभयो कहाँ हेर्दा आउनुभएकै छैन सबैजना यो एरे कस्तो भइरहेछ त सबैले बुझिरहनु भएको छ
मैले बुझाएको छु आफैले गर्नुपर्छ
यो त अब प्र्याक्टिस गर्नुपर्छ हजुर
गर्नुपर्छ बुझ्न चाहिँ बुझाएको छु मैले
ए हस् चारजना मात्रै हुनुहुन्छ आज खै त अरू ब्रेक लामो लिन थाल्नुहोस्
कम ब्याक
हजुर आई सी ओन्ली 6
भ्यूमा चाहिँ मेरो आफ्नो उस यो के भन्छ केही देखिरहेको छैन मैले किन यस्तो गरेँ
के देख्नु भएको छैन
जस्तै म्युट गर्ने अनि यो हुन्छ आफ्नो जुन अगाडिको हुन्छ नि
भिडियो स्टप भिडियो भन्ने हुन्छ नि
भ्यूमा
त्यो अप्सन त्यही माथि हुनुपर्ने हो
स्ट्यान्डर्ड साइड बाइ
सेयरिङ
साइड
गर्ने बित्तिकै
हजुर भर्खर भयो
ए हस् सेयर गरौँ न त खै ल आउनु खै त हौ आउनु न त पार्टिसिपेन्ट कहाँ जानुभयो
सेप पकाएरै खानला जस्तो
पकाएर त खानु भ्याइँदो रहेछ
भेज टाइगर सँग हस् ल म सुरु गर्छु Now next through another good example of first example we did was print array or get the element index by their index. So I say print array, that is okay, but basically what we did is get the array with element index with array element index. So this is what we did right now. We got the index 0, index 5, index 3 of this student. So we get the different index of these elements. One is type string, another one is type integer. So this is what we did. So now there's another way or the important aspects of this is when we see this array, right, there's a good way is looping again. So that's what I said, like when you say for loop, if else condition, you have to make it pani padero. How to tell? Yeah, so this should be very general, it should be very common for terms and used for us because this is you will be using everywhere. So I will use the same example, okay, what this guy has done. Or maybe do you want to use the old example I used? What do you guys prefer? Use the one I use this one? Students?
Yeah, either one is fine for me.
Okay, I'll use the student one so that you don't get confused. I was lazy, so instead of typing, I copy pasted. So if you look at the students, now what I did is I copied I declared the student array of type string. Just remember the wording I use. String array or it's a string. This means array and then students. So this is what I did right now, declared a variable. Next thing I can do is I can loop through this one, right? So I think this is for length, right? Yes, that is for I'm going to loop through all this string int I equals to 0. The starting point 0. I is less than students dot length. So what I'm doing here is I'm saying is I start with 0 and I with student.length. That length in an array, maybe I should have taught here, but length means gives me the length of the elements. Length means, so if you want to loop, you need to know the if you remember what I said, starting, ending. Like 10 plate starting 10, number is 100, right? What it is like, and this is student length will provide you the length of all the elements. I mean, what is the length? So it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is the length. Student length will give you 6, but behind the scene. But first, if you do that, it will be it starts with the this is a function or key, what do you call that? I'll say it's a functions or it's the inbuilt Java to give me the length of the array. Length means if you look at, if you mouse hover over to the length, it goes anywhere? No? Okay. So this is basically saying that give me the length or if you look at here, I think it says something about length, right? Let me use the, what word it used for the length. Okay. To find out how many elements an array has, use the length property. Okay, this is what it's saying. How many elements are the total elements present in an array? You will use the length function, Java array length function. Is it clear? This one. If you read the HTML, it will be clear on your
Elements
own.
like the letters or
Well, if his string type is not a string, will not count a letter, right? This Volvo is a one element. BMW is second element. Ford is third element. Mazda is fourth element. So each element it is saying. Anything that's separated by comma is an one element. So from here to here is one element. And comma is what is separated. Comma separate is the, what do you call that, delimited, or something that is, say that, okay, anything here, this is one element. So in this case, we have four elements. So it will say, if you can try it on your own. This is the beauty of, you know, beauty of this WTC school, which I like, and I like Toyota. Right? I'll add the Toyota also now. What will be the car length now?
5.
Right. It should be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's a 5. Car dot length would print this length of 5. Okay. So what I'm doing, if you look at my code, this is what I'm doing for student length. I'm instead of counting it, because right now I see this is 5, 6, right? I can count. But if I have to count through all of them, it's impossible to count, right? For me. Because if I do go with each of them, like, count and like say there was 10,000 or 100 could be, but to see your sort, this, if you use this one, you will not get an error. So because you may count less or more, right? Now what will happen is I can do system.print students, okay, and then print the index. Earlier I had to give index, right, at 0, 1, 2, 3. Here, since I know index starts from 0, and index starts from with the total length, I'm going to do print I'm just going to give student I. This is really important. I mean, this is one of the most common ways of you'll have to learn and do this. This is one of the very important aspects. So that's the reason I'm focusing this again. Do you have any question? And if I run this one, what do you think will print? See, all the names of the students. Okay. Can you, everyone, look into this again and digest what I've done here, this line of code? Everyone kind of look into it again and then see. Go through this, please. Let me know when you are done.
यो स्टुडेन्ट डट लेन्थ किन राखिरहेछ लेन्थ स्टुडेन्ट मात्रै गऱ्यो भने पनि यो प्रिन्ट हुँदैन
यो लेन्थ भनेको चाहिँ यसको पुरै लेन्थ दिन्छ कि कतिवटा एलिमेन्ट छ भनेर यो अघि हामीले ट्राई गऱ्यौँ नि यहाँ यो 5 काउन्ट किनकि लुपमा त स्टार्टिङ र एन्ड दिनुपर्छ नि लुपले त स्टुडेन्ट मात्रै गर्दा हुँदैन नि त स्टुडेन्ट लेन्थ भनेको चाहिँ फङ्सन हो कि स्टुडेन्ट्स मात्रै भनेको त फेरि एरेको नाम मात्रै भयो नि त यो दियो भने त रङ आइहाल्छ नि यसरी यो यहाँ डिक्लेयर गर्दा स्टुडेन्ट गर्दाखेरि के गर्ने भन्दा प्रिन्ट गर्ने पक्नु चाहिँ यो त के हुन्छ भने यसले यो के हो भने यो देख्नु भने यो चाहिँ के हुन्छ भने जावाले तपाईको हरेक अब्जेक्टलाई एउटा उसको मेमोरीमा राख्छ के स्पेसिङ गर्छ के त्यो स्पेसको भ्यालु आउँछ क्या यसरी भ्यालु त यो भित्रको रिड गर्दैन क्या यो भनेको स्टुडेन्टको भ्यालु मात्रै भयो यो मेमोरीको क्या जावा इन्टरनल मेमोरी भयो यो अब त्यो धेरै यसमा नजाउँ होइन अझै कन्फ्युज हुन्छ त्यो भएर नै यो भनेको तपाईँको स्टुडेन्टहरू त भ्यालुज प्रिन्ट गर्ने हो नि त यसको लोकेसन र त्यो तपाईँलाई यो प्रिन्ट गर्दा केही काम छैन लेन्थ मात्रै गरेर अन्त झन् के गर्छ भन्दा केही पनि एरर आइहाल्यो नि एरे हो के भन्छ आर्गुमेन्ट टाइप इन्ट स्ट्रिङ त्यो त काउन्टै गर्दैन नि त त्यो त एरर आउँछ त्यो भने स्टुडेन्ट्स भनेर चाहिँ तपाईँको स्टुडेन्ट डट लेन्थ चाहिँ फङ्सन हो क्या यो स्टार्ट र एन्ड दिएको हो क्या हामीले खास गरी instead of counting and giving the numbers student length instead of saying that less than equals to 6 right less than 6 1 2 3 5 6 I have to do this one once again SYSO students length okay this is another thing I wanted to do okay dot length okay
अनि तीनटा यो छ नि डट किन दिन्छ यो तीनवटा
यो
त्यो
त
पनि
मैले
सिन्ट्याक्स
जति दिए पनि हुन्छ यो त मैले प्रिन्टै हो मैले आफ्नो मजाले लेखेको हो यो
ए ओके ओके
त आफ्नो लागि जतिवटा दिन्छ त्यो चाहिँ यस्तो स्पेसिङको लागि हो नत्र कसै कसैलाई स्पेसिङ दिन साह्रै यो मनपर्छ मलाई चाहिँ डट दिएर स्पेस दियो भने सजिलो जस्तो लाग्छ कि त्यही भएर हो त्यो
Okay, since we started from 0, so it has to go less than 6.
Right.
And I++ keeps adding 1 on each next outcome. Is that right?
Right. Oh, yeah. Yes, but this is I was giving you some other examples. So let's wait. I mean, instead of 6 value, let's see what is student dot length prints. Okay, so if you want to know how it works, my Eclipse is not responding. So give me a second. Oh, Pratik used right. He went for a longer break. This is, I mean, usually what happens is these are the free tools, right? Eclipse. So we can't even complain. This software is free. So, you know that when there is something free, it's always something linked with it. So there will be always, what do you call that? We can't guarantee it. So at least it is working. It's something give us for free to use. We have to be happy. Sometimes it hangs. I mean, not responding. So we have to wait. So let me go to the here at least. So what this is do is this will give you the length as 4. So this is what I'm saying. Character length is the function. It is a inbuilt function. Not character length is an inbuilt function which will help you give you the length of the car array. So how many? It's basically saying कतिवटा elements छ त class भित्र त्यो चाहिँ class dot यो length function ले दिन्छ कतिवटा element छ भन्दा कतिवटा values छ एउटा भ्यालु दुईटा भ्यालु तीनटा भ्यालु चारवटा भ्यालु पाँचवटा भ्यालुमा चाहिँ 5 आयो अब यसरी यसलाई हटाइदियो भने कतिवटा भ्यालु छ भनेर यसरी प्रिन्ट गर्न लायो भने कतिवटा हुन्छ नि यसको कतिवटा भ्यालु छ कार यो कार एरे भित्र भन्छ 2 छ दुईटा छ एउटा छ दुईटा छ भने 2 आउँछ प्रिन्ट 2 यही हो क्या यसको लेन्थको फंक्सन चाहिँ त्यति हो गर्ने कतिवटा एलिमेन्ट छ त्यही प्रिन्ट गर भन्ने मात्रै हो यो त घुम्या
र
घुम्या
अब
गरेर
यस्तो अब यसलाई चाहिँ इन्डिभिजुअली यतिवटा भन्नुभन्दा यो चाहिँ लेन्थ भनेपछि एउटा भेरिएबल जस्तो भयो।
त्यो पनि एउटा भन्दा हुन्छ, भेरिएबलै भन्दा हुन्छ। त्यसलाई अब
एउटा भेरिएबल
यसरी
यो
गर्दा
त
पनि हुन्छ। इन्ट
डिफ्रेन्ट भ्यालुज भयो हुने भयो नि त
इन्ट कार टोटल कार्स भनेर गर्नु पर्यो भने कार्स डट लेन्थ गर्यो भने मेरो यहाँ सबै प्रिन्ट गर्नको साटो टोटल कार्स प्रिन्ट गर्न सक्छु नि त मैले, हैन? कहिलेकाहीँ यो यसरी गर्दा चाहिँ बेटर हुन्छ कि कहिलेकाहीँ मान्छे बिर्सिन्छ र मात्रै गरेको त यही हो नि त। ल हेर्नुहोस् त 2 नै आयो नि त।
त्यो अब यो हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ अलिक सजिलो मतलब
हजुर
अलिक झ्याप्पै फ्यामिलियर भयो जस्तो भयो नि। कार लेन्थ भनेको त्यो
हजुर
एकछिन चाहिँ के रहेछ।
हजुर टोटल कार्स भनेपछि यो आयो नि त। यो सबै गरेपछि यसरी एलिमेन्टहरू हुन्छ। अब ल यो त घुम्या घुम्या भयो, सेफ सही छैन। सानो रेड गर्न भाइ कहिलेकाहीँ ह्याङ्गै भइदिन्छ पनि। तर यहीँबाट गरौँ नि त, यहीँ गरिदिन्छु म है। अब यो यही लेन्थ भएको क्या। अब तपाईँको कहिलेकाहीँ गर्दाखेरि अब यसलाई लुप गर्नु पर्यो होइन। अनि लुप गर्नु पर्दा फेरि यसलाई सबै यो राखौँ न। अब यहाँ लेन्थ गऱ्यो भने आउँछ 4 होइन। अब मैले यहीँ गर्छु है, इक्जाम्पल चाहिँ इन्ट आई इक्वल्स टु 0, आई इज लेस देन टोटल कार्स होइन। यसरी पनि गर्दा हुन्छ। त्यो गर्न खोजेको चाहिँ त्यही हो, आई प्लस प्लस। यो लुपको त अब बुझिसक्नुभयो, म अब यो लुप एक्सप्लेन गर्दिनँ। यता रहनुभयो, एक काम गरेछ ल। अब मैले यहाँको साटो होइन, अब यहाँ पनि त्यही गरौँ नि त। इन्टिजर टोटल स्टुडेन्ट्स होइन, सरी लोवर केस हुनुपर्छ।
अनि
स्टुडेन्ट
बिचमा गएको फेरि अप्पर हुनु पर्ने कि त्यो अब हामीले सजिलो होस् भनेर।
हजुर
टोटल अनि स्टुडेन्टको एस चाहिँ त्यो अप्पर केस हुने त्यस्तो हुन्छ नि।
क्यामल केसमा युज गर्छ क्या जहिले पनि, जुनै पनि कुरा गर्दा रिडिङ इजी हुन्छ क्या। जस्तै क्यामल केस भने सजिलो हुन्छ रिड गर्न। त्यही भएर जहिले पनि सुरुमा यो लोवर भेरिएबलहरू चाहिँ जहिले लोवर केस, क्लास चाहिँ जहिले अप्पर केस, अनि सबै अप्पर भने रिड गर्न सजिलो भयो नि त। त्यही भएर क्यामल केस भन्छ क्या युज गर्नलाई, प्रिफर गर्छन् होइन। त्यो भएकोले हो होइन। अब यसरी यो गरे बित्तिकै यहाँ पनि लेस देन यही गरिदिन्छु म होइन। अब यो गऱ्यो भने त्यही हो, प्रिन्ट गर्नुपर्छ। हेर्नुहोस् है, टोटल लेन्थ इक्वल टु 6 आयो। अनि टोटल स्टुडेन्ट लेन्थबाट 6 गरेर यो गरेँ। अब यसको साटो मैले अब काउन्ट म्यानुअली काउन्ट 6 पनि राख्न सक्छु नि त, मलाई थाहा छ नि त काउन्ट गरेर। यहाँ मैले टोटल लेन्थ स्टुडेन्टको साटो टोटल स्टुडेन्ट लेन्थ यो गरेँ। I can still change that into the 6 because I got this number from here. But instead of doing that, because there's a chance of making typo mistake, some mistake, I get the same result, right? So instead of that, what we do is we use the total students length. If you do that, it is sure certain that you are not making any mistake. And here you go. So I'll give you one example. Now, what happens is in array, there's always in an array, there's always a boundary, correct? Loop has boundary. It will print you anything within the boundary. It will loop anyway. But this you can also change within the statement what you want to do. So what I did is print me I plus 1. So whenever the index is I means index is 0, print me Netraji. So I made some mistake, okay, in my code. What will happen to the when total student equals to 6? What will happen here? Can anyone walk me through this code? What would happen here? Students equals to student plus 1.
It's gonna leave one of the name of the student in the front, I guess.
Okay, 1 second. I'll do student. Okay, sorry. Let me see. String student equals to students. Okay, I'll make it easier. I think this is much better for you guys, right? Too, because easier to read. So system.print student, because sometimes combining code is a little difficult. What did I do? Okay. Okay. This is the statement. Okay. I just added in the loop. Instead of saying I, okay, I'll move it again. If you need this way, it's easier for you to read. This is also fine. Okay. Nothing to do with that. Sorry, excuse me. So does the same thing. Now I added I plus 1. Can anybody walk me through what will happen in the line from 11 to 15? Can you walk me? Anyone? First, what happens from beginning?
We're just taking the students that has a who is not starting with a 0. Instead of that, we're taking first student as a.
No, let me take one by one. One by one. I want to know one by one. What happens in the beginning of the loop? That one we practice, right? What will happen here? So let me write here. When I equals to 0, what happens?
It comes
In line 30.
exactly the same way it's there.
Student would be, what will be the student? A student equal to students 0 plus 1. Correct? This is what you need to. That's what I was trying to say. Practice with hand also, because this will help you make you understand the things. Equals to students 1, right? Equals to what will then? This is student 1. The next line will be this. I'll put a semicolon separating those condition. Then print student, right? Then it will print. What will be? Print will do student 1. Student 1. What is student 1?
Raj.
Student 1 is not Raj. Index starts from?
Oh,
Yes, it's print Netra. Okay, this is what happens when now it will be I equals to after, or then it actually it happens here only. Okay, after it prints Netra, it will be I equals to I plus 1 equals to 2. No, sorry, I plus 1 equals to 1. My bad. Now when I equals to 1, what happens now here? Student equals to students 1 plus 1 equals to students 2. Okay, then what will be students 2? Print, or what will it print? Delete, right? I equals to I. Now I is what? 1, right? I equals to 1 plus 1 equals to 2. I equals to, sorry, I equals to I plus 1 equals to 1 plus 1 equals to 2. I think here also I should do this one. I equals to 0, plus 1 equals to 1. So this is how the loop works. So this is how you have to practice. The reason why I was trying to explain is, if you want to know how exactly things work, sorry, this is the only way for us to understand things. So if you have to write it like this way. See how I wrote this one. You have to practice this in a sense that, write it and see how that works. This is now print 2. This is now what will happen is, this is how the loop works. So if you write this one, understand this way, practice this, look into it, compare it, what happens, then only you will be able to understand how the loop works. Now, similarly, I'm gonna do third one, fourth one, and fifth one. Okay. Similarly, I will let somebody do this. Okay. And let me go to the 0, 1. Okay. When I equals to I'll do 6. I'm gonna go directly to 6. Okay. Student would be student. It will be
6 plus 1.
right. 6 plus 1, correct, would be equals to student
7.
Student 7. What will print here?
We don't have it.
Yes. So This means
Null.
and no, it will create an error in the code. Okay. So this is what I wanted to show you. This is what is example of the reason behind doing this. It will give a print an error. Why? Because when you look into this code, this is what's happening. There's no index student 7. So let's try what happens. See, array index out of bound. What is bound means 6. Array index is 6, but we are out of bound means we're trying to print the 7th element or value in the student element, but there is no 7th. That's the reason. See, it will give you 7. So if you start to see printing, it starts from Netraji. See, it didn't even print Raj. So you have to be careful how you use the loop and how you use the array and how you loop it. So example behind me showing it, this is an error. This exception error is inbuilt in Java. Okay. So this is not which I created. It is inbuilt in Java. So what is happening is this index is out of bound. That's what it is saying here. Means out of bound means the boundary. The boundary is 1 to 0 to, I mean, index is basically index is 1. It should be 1 to 5, but the length is 1 6. The index is 0 1 2 3 4. I mean 5, right? But when you have it use I got 6, I got to 5 at the length. 2 3 4 5. Okay, my bad. It will be 5. Sorry, my bad. 5 plus 1. It will be 6. Okay. Oh, sorry. 5 plus 1. It's not 6 plus 1. It's 5 plus 1. So if you look at this, the index 6, what you try to use, index starts from 0, right? Length is, there's a difference between length is the one, it cannot be 0, right? So it has to start from 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Length is 6, but index starts from 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we are trying to pull the 6th student, which is not present there, right? Index, 6th index. So which is not present. What it is saying is your index 6 is out of bound. So it will fail, your test case will fail. And there is an error, that's Java built error. So this will say array index out of bound. Do you understand the purpose of this example? Do you want this one or you want the I mean, you want this example also? Error example?
Yes.
Okay. Just for 1 second. I'll do copy and I'll do just replicate this one. Paste array loop with index out of bound. Okay. Error. I'm gonna do it. But let me remove this one. This is for the other one already. Okay, this one I don't want here. I'll just say I. Okay. This is an array. This is simple example which we did. The example which we did would be here. Okay, I'm gonna post both of them in the lecture today. So you can practice this, fill this information and see how it gets. Turn around, change something, put equals to what it does, why it does that. So there will be other conditions you can play around. Add more, add less, see how it happens. So these are all the things you have to practice on your own. Okay, this is important concept. The reason why I added this is really important concept for 1 second. Let me do the assignments. Practice. I'm just gonna say practice array and loop. Let's put the 1 second. This is an assignment. And one more item, that is the I didn't need to print it. I can print it itself here. Oh no, I'll just do add more activity. I'll just do files, loop array. Okay, I'm gonna do this also. array loop. All right. So these are all added to the week 9. Let's go to the, now I'm done with the coding Java. Now we'll start automation and Selenium. Okay. So anyone have any question for today before I start end the Java? So Java is done. So we'll use Java concept, but the main Java course fundamentals is done. We are done with the course. Anyone have any questions? All right, thank you. Let's go with the now the course material. Where did I put it? Not this one. Oh yeah. Today would be introduction to automation. So let me see. I think introduction to automation and Selenium is kind of linked together. For some reason, I added them to in the separately before, but it is same. What is happening? Okay. Maybe I didn't prepare it properly. Okay. I thought I had this done properly. Okay. Let me do a heading, title, heading 2. Okay. So now let's go to the Selenium and Java. Okay. Selenium is an automation tool. What it means is certain times, like for the for loop, for the repeating actions, we create a for loop, right, to solve our problem. So similarly, what happens is in UI, we have repeated actions also. Say, for example, repeating means like every release we have, right? Or every sprint, every release, we want to make sure our whenever the developer makes code changes, we want to make sure that our code it doesn't break the existing function. So there's a regression and functional. So a regression testing is when you want to do some testing against the application so that it doesn't break the existing functionality from of the code. So in that sense, what people are organizing like they want to create and run the regression. So in order to run the regression, people sometimes they want to have it could be the application is complex. They could have hundreds and hundreds of test cases to execute within the time frame. So what do they do is instead of running it manually, they like to automate it. Automation in a sense that the actions could be done through code and it could mimic the UI user experience, how the user uses it and automate it. So that is a and what I'm trying to say is how the user uses like application. Like example would be if I go here, right, and I want to do the if I go here and let's do logout, I believe logout. Okay, I want to make sure this is a logout and login button. Okay, let's go to login. So if I go here, if I go to model, I want to validate whether my login works or not. That's a simple example everyone looked at, right, earlier as a test case. Now, instead of this, every time I have to go and see whether the application is running, application is functioning, I can go over the what do you call this login button. Can I use my remember name or not? Can I do the login? Can I use the forget? So I can validate that all those actions of elements in the present in the UI and all those elements that I've created in the class are present or not. How do I validate it? So instead of doing it manually, I can do it through click action. Like I click action. I'm clicking, right? So there are different kinds of actions that we perform in the UI. So one is click actions. Oh, sorry, my bad. This one is text box. So in text box, we add username and password. So now there is some wordings we have to understand that is kind of related to the UI elements, how we interactions. So how we interact means this is a text box. In text box, what we do, we enter the value. I can say 111 also. I can do BA also, right? These are the values we enter. And then we provide the password also at the same time. This is a text box. Login is a button. So whenever you see this kind of click actions with this mouse, something, it's a button. Still, login as a gate is also a button. If you see this one, this is a checkbox. Okay, so this is a checkbox. If you look at this, it is a check, right? Checkbox. So this is a checkbox. So when you click on the actions, it does some. Okay. All right. So when I click on this one, it's a click action. When I click on the page, it will navigate to whatever command that button or has. It will function it. Or what I mean is, behind the scene in the coding, what happens is somebody developer will code that when I click on the link or the click actions I perform, something should happen. What happened here? It took me inside the Moodle page. So this is all about how the click actions, type actions, check actions. So there are different kinds, there are different ways to interact with the systems. So all those actions can be, if those actions are UI oriented, this is all UI, right? GUI, graphical user interface oriented. That can be what we can do. That can be automated in a sense. If you look at the automation, right, the word itself is manual versus automation. So when you see the driving in Nepal, they all shifts are manual, right? Means you are changing the gear system into the manual gear system, right? That means gears are changing into gear. But here when you click on the paddle, it automatically changes the gear, right? You don't know which gear you are at. Only you know we are pressing the paddle. Automatically the system changes the gear system, right? Similarly, there is automation, means when it's introduction automation, instead of manually going and doing it through user, you are doing it through the Java application or coding, which is basically using a tool or software like Selenium. That is a automation. Anyone, any questions till now? Do you understand the difference between because I think there was a text, right? Manual versus automation testing. There was a course already provided earlier too. So in that we mentioned what is automation, what is manual testing. So here I'm trying to give more explanation about automation because everyone needs to introduce some level of introduction to automation. Any questions?
UI and user acceptance is the same thing or different?
User acceptance is a user acceptance means is a kind of testing. I mean, you are being, I think UI and GUI, I mean GUI you are trying to say, but that those are same. User acceptance means it's a whenever it's a UAT testing. So user acceptance testing, it is a user acceptance doesn't mean there's a word of user acceptance, there's user testing also is there. So when you say user acceptance, it is a as a user, end user, you are accepting that how you want the software or system to function, it is working as designed or as expected, is a user acceptance. User acceptance doesn't mean that it's a GUI. User acceptance means it's a kind of testing or kind of process that you use. Those and graphical user interface or user interface, and those are separate things. Those are not same. Does it answer, Raj?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Raji. So when we talk about automation, right, there are many tools. Like if I Google it, right, UI automation. Okay, UI automation. If you look at it, there are like many tools. Is the first one, test OI, UiPath, Datadog. Many of them are like, I mean, I don't know, browser stack is also, browser stack is kind of not, but there's again Lambda. I don't know. You'll see hundreds of stuff there, right? I mean, there you'll see Perfect2IO is there too. This one, there are hundreds of already softwares built. Like if you look at this one, there are hundreds of things built already in the market. But most common and most popular is the Selenium WebDriver. So many of them also uses the Selenium WebDriver, okay, as a software testing tool. And behind the scene, they may have built the systems, but mainly it's WebDriver, Selenium WebDriver. They use this code and they update whatever they do inside it, and they use the Selenium WebDriver behind the scene.
So that means Selenium is a manual testing or automation?
Automation. Selenium is automation. It's
Selenium.
yeah. Selenium it's one of the tools. So all those other tools you saw before, right? Those are all automation tools. And many of the tools behind the scene they use is a Selenium also. People right on top of, because Selenium has some drivers and these functions, actions, right? That many things that Selenium has inbuilt, like Java, right? When we wrote this code, how this for loop, we didn't design the for loop, right? I didn't say what is for. Did I say anything about for? No. I said nothing about int. I said nothing about string. I didn't declare anywhere in my code. I didn't say what is package, what is for. It's inbuilt. Java has inbuilt functions and libraries and keywords that Java creates it within the whoever created this Java. They have created this or have rules inside Java, or that this means this means some meaning, has some meanings. Similarly, WebDrivers, people also use many things, but WebDriver has some rules and meanings and Javas and libraries which we can use for our purpose. Okay, that is a WebDriver is an way. So another thing is, let me ping this one. Anyone can go over it, and if you want to start looking into it, this I pinged it in the group chat, so everyone can go and look into the Selenium. So can you see my screen, everyone? That's Selenium WebDriver. Can anyone confirm that you can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So in the this is Selenium dev documentation. This is basically, if you want to go, you can go over overview. What is Selenium? What are the different aspects? You can always read on your own too. And but I would not go that. I have my little bit of my own introduction, because if that, it will take forever if I want to go over that page. So basically, when you talk about Selenium, Selenium is an open source web browser automation framework. So whenever you say framework or tool, a framework, what is a framework? So this is another thing which we have to understand, because this is one of the most common most common word used in the Selenium world and automation world. What is a framework? An essential supporting structure of building, vehicle, or object. Okay, you understand what is this? What does this means? What is a framework in simple term? Okay, that means a framework is a real or conceptual structure intended to serve as a support or guide for the building of something that expands the structure into something useful. So if you look at the foundation of our house is a framework, means, or the pillar system house, what happens is, pillar system house, you build a frame, means you have what do you call that, floor, you have these pillars coming out, you have the base, all those things. That's all the frames. How you want the rooms and everything, you can always change it, right? That is a framework. So what is this Selenium is? Selenium is also open source web browser automation framework. This is now in the coding world. What it means is a framework. It is a combination of several different tools like Selenium IDE, Selenium WebDriver, Selenium RC, Selenium Grid. So if you look at Selenium, Selenium consists of, it doesn't mean it has different ways of different purpose and different ways you can use it. And some of them are old, some of them are new, and different ways we will do it. But what we are going to use is Selenium WebDriver, because this is all coding based and Java based. So this is the Selenium WebDriver we are going to use. And if you look at this example, right, Selenium RC means remote control, so which is basically an old Selenium version. I don't think very few tools use it, but this is all already deprecated. Not many things will use, not many companies or people. When I started running Selenium, I started with Selenium RC. Second thing is Selenium WebDriver. Selenium WebDriver is a Java version or whatever language version they are going to use. It's a more robust way of using the Selenium. A WebDriver is mainly the this advancement. So RC is one old version, and they merge some of this with some tool and they make a Selenium WebDriver. So Selenium WebDriver became a new latest version. And Selenium IDE is also it was a plugin in Firefox. So IDE is a plugin in Firefox browser. That's when the Selenium was initially created, and the beta version, like probably more than a decade back. And Selenium Grid is basically saying that if you want to run multiple tests in multiple machines, it's a division. So it's a grid. I don't want to go more into this because just have some understand there are few versions of Selenium. Versions are different, or versions you can say. And from within the Selenium WebDriver also has multiple versions. So within Selenium WebDriver has Selenium 2, Selenium 3, and Selenium 4. So right now the latest version is Selenium 4. Okay. So this is the latest version of Selenium. So I went over here, right? Together with those tools offer single interface for inputting test scripts in a number of popular coding languages. Why we use Selenium is Selenium became so popular that now instead of Java, initially it was built on JavaScript. Now every language is almost all its languages use this now. Selenium. Ruby has version Java, Python, C Sharp, JavaScript. You can use Selenium in any of these languages. Okay, but for now we'll only use Java because that is what we are for the purpose of this whole classes courses. Plus the ability to create automated tests from the scripts and run them locally or remotely on a range of browsers. So just for now, we'll only practice them locally. Okay, remotely in a sense, we will not practice that because we need remote machines and stuff. So we'll only make sure that we are running this in the locally. What is Selenium testing? Selenium automation uses Selenium toolbox to run tests across different browser instances. Okay, so means you can run this browser instances. Means why Selenium? You can run into Selenium, even the same code you can use in the run the test in Chrome, IE, Firefox, Safari. You can run in all the browsers. So different same test can execute in different browsers. I'll tell you how we can do that. But for now, let's remember that Selenium can run test case in different browsers instances. Selenium Grid lets you run across multiple instances and machines at once. So if you want to run, but will not practice Grid, but just you need to know this. Somebody may ask what is Selenium Grid. Then Selenium Grid lets you run tests across multiple instances, means multiple instance means at a time, right? One instance. Our presence is one instance. But if you in the future past, if you go multiverse, we'll have multiple instances of ourselves. So it means for now it will only run single thread versus multiple thread. It is saying if you can run in multiple instances, multiple things can run at the same time. That's what it is trying to say. But for now, we'll only use this Selenium automation. Okay, we'll not be using Selenium Grid in this course. There are a lot of types of testing it can be used for. So Selenium can be used for testing. One second, let me do this thing. What is this numbering? Okay. Oh, wow, what is this? Why does this come picture? Oh no. The main purpose of Selenium is regression testing, but the other purpose is some people will like to use system testing. Different terms, right? System testing means testing the system end to end. End to end testing kind of similar thing. Comparative. So people are use the automation to do different forms of testing. Some of them will do integration. I don't know why they say performance. Some people will use for very less, but this is not most common. Okay, don't not most commonly used for performance, but sometimes people will use for performance also, mainly for regression, integration, and system or end-to-end testing. So this is where the automation is used. Some big companies also like to use it for functional testing also. So let me put that also, functional testing. Some companies would like to use the functional testing also. Essentially, what it means, essentially any test you can think of that can run in a browser can be run in by Selenium if you have knowledge and training to set it up. So this is what I said earlier, right? Any test you can do interact with the browser, interactions with the browsers you can automate. While Selenium testing is likely to have place in developers toolkit for some time to come, there are a number of things that can make it practically for today's complex testing requirements. So why you want to use Selenium? That's what it's, how do I remove the spacing between them? No space. Okay. Normal text. No, I didn't like it. Some region. Okay, let me do this again for this one also. Okay, so while Selenium testing is likely to have place in developer tool, what are the number of things that can make it practical or today's complex testing requirement? It's a complex with a steep learning curve. It's, I mean, why there is a learning curve with Selenium, right? That's what it's trying to say. You have to learn. It's not that simple. It takes a lot of manual coding to build the testing solution you want. So there are sometimes this is all about coding. It is saying that you have to do a lot of coding to make things work. A lot of training to get most of it out. Means we have to do some trainings and practice a lot. Need additional software to do things like native testing, hybrid and web mobile testing. So for automation, we are only going to follow only the web browser based. Okay, we're not going to mobile based testing. This is a much complex and much, I mean, advanced level. So we will not be working on the mobile apps testing currently. And no built-in reporting capabilities. So this means certain times Selenium disadvantage of, or why you don't want to use, or maybe some what is the reason behind some people don't like Selenium, right? So what they do is they say no built-in reporting capability, but there are ways you can build the report. So what it's saying is, even though you don't build reporting, there are softwares and tools which will help you build the reporting. No support apart from user forum. That is also correct because Selenium is an open source free software. So what open source means, it is free. It's a lot of work to evolve test and apply your developer evolve. Means it is saying you have to spend some times and information to evolve this code. It means make it proper test suite. So that's what it is trying to say. So this is just the introduction to testing automation. And since we didn't have enough time, so this is where I will end. Any questions for the introduction to automation? Tomorrow we'll complete the let's see. What do I have tomorrow? Tomorrow I think I thought I'll end it sometime. So this is just the introduction. So tomorrow introduction to Selenium. We'll go over some of these Selenium introductions. And next week we'll start the setup of the Selenium. Okay. So I'll probably add that as part of the assignments for the next week. Any questions for this? Do anyone have any question of introduction to automation?
So I have like automation is like a way of testing. Like there are two ways of testing. One is automation. One is manual. And
Right.
Selenium is one of the a tool for the automation testing. That's what I understand.
Correct. That's what it is. Yep. That's what the whole thing is. And how do we do that and stuff, we will learn in the future classes. So this is also, yeah, it also takes some time. So we'll see how this goes. Okay. We have to be quick, and lots of information should be introduced. So please don't forget to read all those other informations, like all those topics. Do more and more revisions. That's all I can say. If you revise more, you spend more time, you'll learn more on this ones. So please try to remember all those things, because that's the reason. If you have studied multiple times all this revision, or at least by now we are in 9th week, right? If you have revised this 9 times, at least this one and this topic, you would not have much issues. Even this one you will not have issues. Even this one you will not have. Then the issue starts only from week 5, so you'll have less and less issues to look into this. So that is where you have to do every week revision. That will help you catch up easily. Now if I have to go back and understand Java, because for Selenium you have to understand Java, there's no solutions. Okay, so few concepts will be added, but basically you have to understand Java. So you have to, everything whatever we taught about Java, you have to remember, and you have to understand some conceptuals also. So please spend good enough time to go over the Java class. That's what I have to say for today. Any questions? Anything that want to ask before I end the day? I hear no questions. Thank you. Thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you.
And we'll talk tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Have a good day.